Hello, this is Sandra Hart, and today I'm going to give you 10 mistakes that you should never make and 10 secret tips for a better life. Hello and welcome. This is Sandra Hart. Hello and welcome to Life Over 60 with Sandra. So happy to see you here again with me today, and welcome to all of my new subscribers. I just love having you along with me and with all of us on this journey. Today we're going to be talking about, things never ever to do. And you may have your own list, so after this video is finished and in the comments section, I want you to put down maybe some extra things that we as humans, we as women should never, ever do. Now, the first one I'm going to start off and tell you is don't wish your life away. And what do I mean by that? Don't spend your days wishing, oh, I wish I could have more money. Oh, I wish I could travel. Oh, I wish this COVID would go away. Oh, I wish when I was younger, I should have made a different decision in my life. All of those things are true, and all of those things we can do, and I'm sure most of us do them. But it's a waste of time. Don't wish your life away. If you have a dream and you want to do something, do it. Act on it. Don't just sit there wishing, oh, if I only could have, if I would have, if I should have. That really is such a waste of your energy. And at this stage in our lives, we shouldn't be wasting energy or time at all. So that's the number one thing. The second thing is don't make promises you can't fulfill. Now, I know we have all done this. I have done this so many times. In my heart, my intentions are good, but sometimes I speak too soon. I say, sure, I can do that. But in reality, maybe I can't, or maybe I resent doing it because I really didn't want to do it. So if you are faced with something and someone asks something of you and you say, oh, yes, I can do that. I promise that, I will take that trip with you, or I promise I will, whatever it is. There's so many things we can promise in life. I'll promise I'll give you that loan. Don't ever do that. I mean, when somebody comes to you and asks you a favor or asks you to do something, and it's not in your wheelhouse and you're very hesitant about it, just use your gut instinct. And if you hesitate just for a minute, that means don't do it. Do not take on a responsibility or an obligation that you cannot and you don't feel like fulfilling. And we do that so often, and it's so, so easy, because if you have a good heart and you're kind and you love people around you, you more than likely want to say yes, but you really just can't. And the third one is something that I've spoken about before, I think in a couple of videos ago. Don't hide your love. Do not just take it for granted that they know that you love them. Just say, oh, well, I don't have to tell them. I do so many things with them. They know that I love them. Not necessarily so. Everybody needs a pat on the back. Everyone needs to be wanted and loved. That is just our nature, human nature. Even babies that are not held and fondled and cradled, they wither away. It's just a basic human need that we all have. So don't wait till it's too late to tell those around you that you love, even your dog. I tell Sophie every day, and I don't know whether she knows what I'm talking about or not, but I tell my Sophie every day, I love you, Sophie. And she looks at me with those big eyes, and I said, well, I hope she understands what I'm saying. So don't wait to tell someone that you love them. And this is one I really have to tell my husband all the time. Don't hold on to bitter feelings. He was in partnership with an attorney in New York, and it wound up this attorney did some really terrible things to Arthur and his business, and it really was dastardly, to be honest with you. But Arthur won't let go. And this was 20 years ago, he cannot find it in his heart to forgive this man. And he talks about it constantly. And do you know what that's doing? All that is doing is simmering and seething and eating away at him. He won't let it go. And he would be much happier and have a better life, even though he is almost 94. But he would have a much better life if he focused it on something positive and he would let go of his partner who was not exactly honest. But to this day, he still resents him. And it's, part of him, I think, that really is eating him away emotionally inside still. And no matter how much I try to counsel him and say, don't let it go, Arthur, let it go, he won't let it go. But I want you to be able to not hold on to grudges, not hold on to bitter feelings that you have toward life, toward your circumstances, toward anything. Always try to find something positive in your mind that is attached and will erase those feelings. And another thing that, number 5, don't ignore your intuition. How many times have we done videos? I've done videos, we've had conversations about this. Your intuition is so strong. It really is. Your first instinct about something is what you listen to, because your instinct, usually 99.99%, is right and will guide you in the right direction. Whenever I have ignored my intuition, I've made mistakes every single time. So throughout the years, I have tried to hone my ability to really be aware when my gut instinct and my intuition kicks in, because then I know probably whatever it is that I'm feeling is right. So please do not ignore that God-given intuition that you have. Another thing, we have lived long enough to have had a lot of experiences and a lot of things in our lives, haven't we? We've met people, we've done things, we've had a lot of different experiences, maybe different jobs. And there might be something in your life that you regret. We all have regrets, but you know what? Do not hang on to them. It's the same way with bitter feelings. Hanging on to something in the past is not going to help you in the future at all. I probably have told you about the time that Ethel Merman's manager let me practice and vocalize up in his apartment because we lived in the same apartment building in New York. And he came down, and I suspected that he had ulterior motives for me, but he didn't. And I know he didn't because I was so young, and I, was fearful. And I regret that I didn't take on his recommendation that he would like to manage me. But I was a young girl from Ohio, and I was innocent, and I was scared, I guess. I just was scared because I don't think, who, me? Does he really think I had that much talent? And I didn't believe in myself. So that is one of the big regrets that I have. But I wouldn't have had the life that I have today. I wouldn't have my children. I wouldn't have had, Arthur. I wouldn't have had this wonderful life that I had. I would be somewhere else, probably out in Hollywood, or still singing, 80-year-old woman in some cabaret somewhere. I has been. So don't hang on to regrets, because when you do that, anything that you hang on to, it really puts a rope around your neck and keeps you from going forward and opening that door to the future. So that is one that I know that you really shouldn't do. Another one is, where you are right now is not where you have to be for the rest of your life. So don't get stuck. If you are happy where you are and you are leading a full life and everything is just A-okay with you, you're really lucky. But if you are in a point in your life where you don't like your job, you're unhappy with where you live, you're unhappy in a relationship, you can't seem to really make a lot of friends, whatever it is, if you've lost a partner or a spouse, whatever it is where you are right now, don't get stuck. Please don't get stuck, because tomorrow is another day. And don't lose your hope of being able to change things, because nothing in our life is static. Absolutely nothing. When you look back on your life from the very beginning to where you are now, look how many different chapters you've had. Look how many different circumstances and things have happened in your life that has propelled you to where you are today. But if where you are today, you're really unhappy about it, don't get stuck. And don't use all of that energy saying, oh, I'm so stuck, I'm hopeless, there's nothing that's ever going to happen to me good, I'm not going to be able to do it. Do you know what? That's a lot of energy you're expelling, isn't it? You're wasting all that energy when that stuck energy should be on something positive, and sit down and make a list of things that you can do realistically, things that you can do right now to change that stuck place where you are in right now. That energy to propel you forward instead of sucking you in and pulling you back into your misery is not healthy. So use that energy to make a list, do what you have to do to propel yourself forward and get those wheels from spinning in the mud, and get out of there if you are very happy with where you are. Another thing that I think is really important, and this, you don't have to go to school for this, but don't stop educating yourself. Don't stop opening your mind to things, whether it's reading more, having a more open mind about situations that are going on around you, learning a new skill, learning a new language, maybe taking some online courses like Purposeful Gathering. but expand. Always keep expanding your life. Keep expanding your mind and your horizon. It doesn't have to be big things. As I said, it could be just maybe reading a book about how to do something, reading a biography about someone else's life, and that has expanded your knowledge. Now, last night I had a very interesting, I watched a PBS, and it was a really interesting documentary on St. Augustine here in Florida. And I knew it was, the oldest city in Florida, but I didn't know the history of it. And it was absolutely so fascinating about the Indians that were here and how it was a multicultural acceptance colony when it came here. They had people from Africa, but they were not slaves. They were free to own property and to not have to worry about being in slavery. So the whole story and the whole history of St. Augustine was so interesting and something that I learned that was new. So be open to all avenues of expression, art, theater. Now with the internet, we can just go online and we can listen to podcasts. We have everything at our fingertips, so there's no excuse to not broaden and educate your mind. Another thing that I think is really important, and I guess, I talked about this a lot, so you may be tired of hearing me say it, but don't lose your individuality. Don't be a part of the herd. When we are born, we all have different genetics, different genomes, and different mixes, even if we have part of the same DNA as our parents and our cousins and our siblings. We are unique. There is no one in the universe who is like us. So embrace your individuality. Embrace your imperfections. None of us have perfect bodies, faces, minds, living situations, lives. None of us have those things that are perfect. But embrace your uniqueness. It really is so important to your happiness because everyone else is taken, as I've said before. There's no one like you. So why not love you and embrace everything about you? Because you are so special and unique, and don't ever, ever, ever let anyone else tell you that you are less than wonderful and your own unique self. And number 10, this is for parents out there, including me. This is for all of us that have had children and raised children and sent them on their way out of the nest. Always be supportive of your children, but don't ever, ever, ever expect them to give back to you what you gave to them. Those are our expectations that we should not impose upon our children. And we expect them to do something with their lives, that's different. But don't expect them to pay us back for what we have done for them. Because if we lose those expectations and we untie that knot, that attaches us to them and say, oh, I did this for you and you owe me, or why aren't you doing this for me? Whenever you and your children don't feel that burden of expectation on their shoulders, you know what? It makes them want to do more for you. That's just human nature. If someone, you love cakes and maybe sweets or whatever, or potato chips, and you're a little overweight, and your husband or partner or somebody said, don't eat that, you're getting fat. Oh, you better not eat that, you're getting fat. What do? You stuff it in faster. Because that burden of criticism and expectations of who you should be is thrown back at you. But if nobody monitors what you eat and what you say, and you are in charge of your own life and what you eat, you can look in the mirror or get on the scale and say, hey, you know what? I'm about 10 pounds heavier. I'd better kind of drop those pounds and I have to watch what I eat. And you're willing to do it because it was your choice. When your children have a choice of theirs to give back to you, it's a very beautiful thing. And it usually happens if you do not expect anything back from your children. You have raised them with love and only want happiness for them. So, those are my 10 tips of burdens that we put on ourselves, things that we shouldn't do if we want to live a full and free life. So if you have some suggestions of your own that you want to put in the comment, I really would love to read them. And I want to say your comments are so heartfelt and open and honest that it just absolutely touches me to the core. I just want to tell you that I am so grateful for each and every one of you that are coming along with me and the rest of this community on our journey to find the very best life after 40, 50, 60, and beyond. Thank you again. And today you deserve to do something really wonderful for yourself. And as I said in one of my points, don't forget to share your love with someone today that you really care about. And of course, share the love with everyone. Thank you. And I'm also on Instagram, and I'd love to have you join me on Instagram as Sandra's Heart. I'll put the link below because we have a lot of fun on Instagram too. Have a great day, and thank you again for coming, and I hope to see you in my next video.